what we want to fight about in such a place. And it's not going to be free of judgment because there's lots of people who are judges. And they have their place too. It's just a matter of we aren't listening.
Yeah.
And all of us have something to say, but how many of us are actually listening? And this kind of brings us back to the whole media issue, where it's just a big, it's a megaphone for a few people. And we have so many voices, and it is confusing to think that we could listen to more voices than we currently do, but again, even that, it comes back to the neighbors. If you just listen to your neighbors, you would see that they're good, and you didn't have anything to worry about. And, if they did the same thing, listen to their neighbors, da-da-da-da-da, and it goes all the way around, and you start getting to the border, and you're like, well, why is this line here? Why don't we listen to people across the border, too? Like, it really is, it's just a lack of listening that drives all our misunderstanding. And, so it's a big project. It's funny, I actually, when I first started designing my idea and trying to speak about it at my Toastmasters club, I actually called it the listening machine. And then I realized, it's probably going to sound like some sort of spy device, and I didn't want to go with that.
Yeah.
So now it's the question collector, but I think even that's going to get tossed eventually. It's just not catching.
And the thing is too that I think that I don't think that we have to name it. I think actually part of the problem is the naming and the ontologies and the description and saying like, well, this, you know what I mean? Like as soon as you define something, it becomes like a thing in itself. You know what I mean? And now the thing you're talking about is only in like referentially, related to the thing. So like now instead of us talking about what we're actually talking about, we're talking about the listening machine. We're talking about Junto. We're talking about this thing that's in between. It's like, it's God. You know what I mean? It's kind of like these things where you can't you can only show it and you can only do it. You know what I mean? Like as we're having this conversation, this is the thing we're talking about. It's the conversation. So that's why I'm recording this. That's why I'm going to post it, and that's why I want to be able to have these kind of conversations and I want other people to just have the conversation. Like, just have the conversation. Like, what do we want to call it? The conversation? I mean, it's
Yeah,
just,
well,
you
I
know,
mean, conversation is great, but I mean, I think one of the biggest issues we're having, especially with the internet now and the explosive growth of everyone's voices are getting out there. You can search it all day and find amazing corners that no one's ever found before and have conversations with people who never would have dreamed of ever talking to you. And that's pretty amazing. And the broadcast power, it's all there. So, but this whole switching from you know pushing stuff out and repeating. There's a lot of repetition. I mean, the news media has been doing it since they started printing papers. I mean, that was the whole point, was they could copy stuff really, really fast, right, and get it to more people. But it became a commodity rather than a conversation that was remembered. So one of the key things that I want to focus on with my thing is to stop the duplication of questions. So, and the question becomes the top point of the pyramid, because the question is what we all have. We all have questions, and we can be united in our questions even if we don't agree on the answers. So I think that's where the the focus hasn't been,
yeah,
and I
that's
think
very
there's an
interesting.
opportunity there to really stop, create a place where there's memory, not just a conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because it's capturing conversations so that it's useful to others is difficult.
right. Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with almost like the unconference kind of like format and like what we're doing right now. Like, we just started talking. We didn't really have like an agenda, but like, there's bullet points will only take us so far. There's something about free form, not debate, but just like, you know what I mean? Kind of like whatever you call this, this like place of mutual understanding. Like,